Throughout human history, long before books were written and universities were established, wisdom was carried in the hearts and voices of elders. Across continents and cultures, Indigenous elders became the guardians of knowledge, storytellers of their people, protectors of the land, and teachers of life's deepest truths. Their wisdom was never measured by wealth or status. It was measured by experience, humility, compassion, and an intimate understanding of the natural world. They taught not only with words, but through the way they lived, showing younger generations how to care for one another, respect all living beings, and live in harmony with the earth. Although Indigenous cultures are wonderfully diverse, many share common values that transcend borders and generations. They remind us that every river has a story, every tree deserves respect, every creature has its place, and every human being belongs to a much greater family of life. Today, our world is more connected than ever before, yet many people feel disconnected from nature, from community, and sometimes even from themselves. We often move so quickly through life that we forget to pause, to listen, and to appreciate the wisdom quietly surrounding us. The teachings of Indigenous elders offer a gentle invitation to slow down, to remember that we are not separate from nature, but part of it, to understand that true wealth is found not in what we own, but in how we care for one another, and to recognize that every choice we make today shapes the world future generations will inherit. Today, we will explore some of the most important lessons shared across many Indigenous wisdom traditions. Though these teachings come from different peoples and cultures, they continue to inspire millions because they speak to something timeless within every human heart. Perhaps now more than ever, humanity needs to hear their voices. Let us start with who are Indigenous elders? Across the world, Indigenous peoples have lived on their ancestral lands for thousands of years, developing rich cultures, languages, spiritual traditions, and systems of knowledge that have been passed from one generation to the next. Within many of these communities, elders hold a deeply respected place. An elder is not simply someone who has reached an advanced age. An elder is someone who has earned the trust of the community through wisdom, integrity, generosity, and service. They are teachers, historians, healers, peacemakers, and keepers of cultural memory. Their role is to preserve traditions while helping younger generations understand how to live with respect for themselves, for others, and for the natural world. Much of this knowledge has traditionally been shared through storytelling, observation, ceremony, and lived experience, rather than through written books. Although every Indigenous nation has its own unique beliefs and customs, many share values such as gratitude, balance, responsibility, humility, reciprocity, respect for all life, and caring for future generations. These teachings have survived centuries of hardship because they continue to offer practical guidance for living meaningful and connected lives. Today, as environmental challenges, social division, and mental exhaustion affect many communities around the world, the wisdom of Indigenous elders offers perspectives that are both ancient and remarkably relevant. So, let us start with this amazing teachings. The earth is not inherited from our ancestors, it is borrowed from our children. This well-known teaching, often shared across many Indigenous traditions, reminds us that we are temporary caretakers rather than permanent owners of the earth. Modern society often encourages us to think in terms of ownership. My land, my resources, my success. Indigenous wisdom offers a different perspective. The rivers, forests, mountains, oceans, and skies existed long before us, and they will continue long after we are gone. Our responsibility is not simply to enjoy them, it is to care for them. Every tree we protect, every stream we keep clean, every species we preserve, every thoughtful choice we make becomes a gift to those who will come after us. This teaching extends far beyond the environment. It also applies to the values we pass on: kindness, integrity, compassion, honesty. These are also part of the inheritance we leave future generations. In today's fast-moving world, where convenience often takes priority over sustainability, this lesson encourages us to think beyond ourselves. It asks us one simple but profound question: what kind of world are we helping to create? Our answer is found not in our words, but in our daily actions. So, before making an important decision, pause for a moment and ask yourself, if future generations could see this choice, would they thank me for it? Sometimes the smallest acts of care become the greatest gifts we leave behind. The next teaching is, everything in nature is connected. One of the most beautiful themes found across many Indigenous traditions is the understanding that life exists as a great web of relationships. Nothing exists entirely alone. The trees help create the air we breathe. The rivers nourish the land. Animals, plants, insects, and people all depend upon one another in countless visible and invisible ways. Indigenous elders teach that when we harm one part of nature, we ultimately affect the whole. Likewise, when we care for one another, the entire community grows stronger. This understanding invites us to see life differently. Rather than asking, "What can I take?" we begin asking, "How can I contribute?" This simple shift transforms the way we live. It encourages cooperation instead of competition, respect instead of exploitation, gratitude instead of entitlement. Perhaps one of the greatest challenges of modern life is the feeling of separation. Many people feel disconnected from nature, isolated from their communities, and overwhelmed by the pace of everyday life. Indigenous wisdom gently reminds us that healing often begins by remembering something we have never truly lost. We belong. not only to our families or communities, but to the living world itself. Therefore, the next time you walk through a park, sit beneath a tree, or watch the sunrise, pause long enough to notice the quiet connections surrounding you. You are not standing apart from nature. You are standing within it. And perhaps remembering that simple truth is the first step toward living with greater peace, gratitude, and purpose. This is a wonderful teaching that nowadays is hardly followed. Listen more than you speak. One of the qualities most often associated with respected Indigenous elders is their ability to listen. Not simply to words, but to people, to nature, to silence, to the changing seasons, to the lessons carried by everyday life. In many Indigenous traditions, listening is considered an act of wisdom. When we truly listen, we learn. When we rush to speak, we often miss what life is trying to teach us. Today's world is filled with constant noise. Televisions speak, phones vibrate, social media demands attention. Opinions compete for every moment of our awareness. Yet genuine listening has become increasingly rare. Patanjali taught about quieting the mind. Indigenous elders similarly remind us that wisdom often arrives in stillness. Sometimes the most important answers cannot be forced. They appear when we become quiet enough to notice them. Listening also transforms our relationships. When people feel genuinely heard, trust grows, misunderstandings decrease, compassion deepens, communities become stronger. Nature itself teaches this lesson. The forest grows quietly, the rivers flow without boasting. The stars illuminate the night without asking for recognition. Perhaps true wisdom behaves in much the same way. The next time someone speaks with you, resist the urge to prepare your answer. Instead, simply listen. Sometimes offering someone your complete attention is the greatest gift you can give. One of the most important teachings of the elders is followed by many greats. Gratitude is a way of life. Across many Indigenous cultures, gratitude is not reserved for special occasions. It is woven into everyday living. Many communities traditionally begin gatherings, ceremonies, or daily activities by expressing thanks. Thanks for the sunrise. Thanks for water. Thanks for food. Thanks for family. Thanks for the animals. Thanks for the plants. Thanks for the earth that supports every step we take. This practice does something remarkable. It changes the way we see life. When we constantly focus on what we lack, life feels incomplete. When we notice what we already have, abundance quietly appears. Modern research continues to show that gratitude supports emotional well-being, healthier relationships, and greater resilience. Indigenous elders understood this long before scientific studies existed. Gratitude changes the heart before it changes our circumstances. It reminds us that every ordinary day contains extraordinary gifts waiting to be noticed. The warmth of sunlight, a shared meal, a smile, clean water, the laughter of children, birdsong in the morning. These simple blessings become extraordinary when we truly see them. Start immediately. Begin and end each day by quietly naming 3 things for which you are grateful. Over time, you may discover that the world has always been more beautiful than you first imagined. Love and respect for Earth is probably one of most valuable teachings that is not followed nowadays. Walk gently upon the earth. Indigenous elders often teach that every step we take leaves a mark, not only upon the ground, but upon other people, upon our communities, upon future generations. Living gently means recognizing that our choices matter. How we consume, how we speak, how we treat strangers, how we care for animals, how we respect the places we visit. Walking gently is not weakness. It is wisdom guided by responsibility. Today's society often celebrates speed, more, bigger, faster. Indigenous wisdom offers another path. Slow enough to notice, gentle enough to protect, wise enough to preserve. Imagine if every person asked before acting, will this choice leave the world a little better? Small actions, repeated every day, quietly transform the future. So for every one of us, it should be emphasized. Leave every place, every conversation, every relationship a little kinder than you found it. That is one of the simplest ways to honor the earth. How did we get here where everyone is and behaves in an individualistic way? This teaching should be followed by absolutely everyone. Community makes us strong. Many modern cultures celebrate individual success. Indigenous wisdom reminds us that no one truly succeeds alone. Every child is taught by many people. Every meal depends upon countless hands. Every community grows stronger when people care for one another. This understanding nurtures humility. It teaches that asking for help is not failure. Offering help is not obligation. Both are expressions of belonging. Loneliness has become one of the greatest challenges of modern society. Yet Indigenous communities have long understood something deeply important. Human beings flourish through connection. We need one another, not because we are weak, but because we were created to live together. So, ask yourself today, who around me could benefit from one small act of kindness? A helping hand, a kind word, a patient conversation. These small moments strengthen the entire community. Nowadays, many of us are profiting from unscrupulously of each other, losing the love and respect for each other by the minute. This next lesson should be followed to the letter. Respect every living being. One of the most beautiful teachings shared across Indigenous traditions is that every living creature has value. Whether great or small, every form of life has its purpose. This perspective encourages humility. Human beings are not rulers of nature. We are participants within it. When we begin seeing life through this lens, compassion naturally grows. Respect becomes easier. Gratitude becomes deeper. The boundaries between ourselves and the living world begin to soften. Can you, Treat every living being as though its existence matters, because it does, and in doing so, you honor the gift of life itself. The wisdom is carried throughout times, often is ignored or disrespected. So this next lesson is honor the wisdom of the elders. Across indigenous cultures around the world, elders are treasured not simply because they have lived many years, but because they have lived those years with purpose, humility, resilience, and service. They have witnessed seasons come and go. They have experienced joy and hardship. They have made mistakes, learned from them, and carried those lessons forward for the benefit of the next generation. In many modern societies, knowledge is often measured by qualifications or technology. Indigenous traditions remind us that another kind of wisdom exists. The wisdom of experience, the wisdom of listening, the wisdom that comes from living closely with people, community, and the natural world. When young people listen to their elders, knowledge is preserved. When communities honor those who came before them, culture remains alive. When we ignore the voices of experience, we often repeat the same mistakes. Perhaps every family has an elder whose stories deserve to be heard. A grandparent, a parent, a neighbor, someone whose quiet life carries lessons no book could ever fully teach. Today, take time to sit with someone older than yourself. Ask about their life. Listen without interruption. You may discover wisdom that changes the way you see your own journey. What can an individualistic society can learn from elders that this great next teaching? Think beyond yourself. One of the most enduring principles found across many indigenous traditions is the importance of thinking beyond our own lifetime. Many indigenous communities encourage decisions that consider their impact on future generations. This beautiful idea reminds us that every choice creates ripples. The kindness we show today, the forests we protect, the values we teach our children, the communities we help build, will continue long after we are gone. Modern life often rewards immediate results. Quick success, instant gratification, rapid consumption. Indigenous wisdom offers a different perspective. Live in such a way that those who come after you inherit something better than what you received. Perhaps true success is not measured by what we accumulate. Perhaps it is measured by what we leave behind. A kinder world, cleaner rivers, stronger families, healthier communities, greater compassion. This is the legacy every person has the opportunity to create. Make it a habit and ask yourself each morning, what small action can I take today that will make tomorrow a little better for someone else? Great change often begins with one quiet act of responsibility. Do we think that our Earth society will advance if they listen to each of the teachings to live in harmony? If there is one teaching that beautifully unites many indigenous wisdom traditions, it is this: live in harmony. Harmony with nature, harmony with family, harmony with community, harmony with yourself. Harmony does not mean life is free from difficulties. Storms will still come. Loss will still visit us. Challenges will still arise. Harmony means learning how to move through life's seasons with balance rather than resistance. Like a river flowing around rocks instead of fighting against them. Like a tree bending with the wind while remaining deeply rooted. Indigenous elders teach that true strength is found not in domination, but in balance. Not in taking more than we need, but in sharing. Not in endless competition, but in cooperation. Not in fear, but in respect. Perhaps the happiest life is not the busiest, nor the wealthiest, but the one lived with gratitude, humility, purpose, and love. Can you, each evening, ask yourself one simple question? Did I help create more harmony today? If the answer is yes, then you have already helped make the world a better place. Let us close this great video with the most profound teachings from elders by Walking Forward with Ancient Wisdom. As we come to the end of our journey, we are reminded that the wisdom of Indigenous elders does not belong only to the past. It is living wisdom. It continues to speak through the forests, the rivers, the mountains, the stars, and through those who still carry these traditions with care and devotion. Although Indigenous cultures are wonderfully diverse, many share a profound understanding that humanity is part of a greater whole. We are not separate from nature. We are part of it. We are not isolated individuals. We are members of families, communities, and an interconnected world where every action has meaning. In today's fast-paced society, these teachings may be more relevant than ever. They remind us to slow down, to listen before speaking, to give thanks before asking for more, to care for the earth rather than simply consume it, to value relationships above possessions, to think not only about ourselves, but about those who will inherit the world after us. Perhaps the greatest lesson Indigenous elders offer is that wisdom is not measured by how much we know. It is measured by how we live, by our kindness, our humility, our generosity, our respect for life, our willingness to learn, our courage to protect what is precious. Every sunrise offers a new opportunity to live these values. Every conversation offers an opportunity to listen with compassion. Every choice offers an opportunity to act with integrity. None of us will live forever, but every one of us leaves footprints behind. May those footprints lead toward healing rather than harm, toward understanding rather than division, toward gratitude rather than entitlement, toward peace rather than conflict. The future is not created only by great leaders or extraordinary events. It is shaped by ordinary people making thoughtful choices every single day. Perhaps that is the quiet miracle these teachings reveal. A better world begins with better daily actions. One act of kindness, one moment of gratitude, one tree protected, one person encouraged, one family strengthened, one community united, May we walk gently upon this earth. May we honor those who came before us. May we become worthy ancestors for those who will come after us. And may we remember that true wisdom is never about becoming greater than others. It is about becoming more compassionate, more humble, more grateful, and more deeply connected with all life. Thank you for sharing this journey. Until next time, may your heart remain open, your mind remain curious, and your steps always leave behind kindness, hope, and peace. We are Unity of Consciousness, where we help you to achieve personal and spiritual growth. The wisdom of the great teachers does not ask us to become someone else. It gently reminds us to become the wisest version of who we already are. Thank you for watching. Peace be with you.